In the United States, casual dining chains are everywhere. Tens of thousands of sit-down locations blanket highways, suburbs, and shopping centers, pulling in billions of dollars a year and serving hundreds of millions of meals. On any given weekend, more Americans eat at a chain restaurant than attend every professional sports game combined. And yet, behind the breadsticks and birthday songs, most of us have no idea what's really going on. We don't see how often those kitchens fail health inspections, how many lawsuits get quietly settled, or how easily one casual dinner can blow through an entire day's worth of calories and sodium before we even touch dessert. From microwaved steakhouse dinners and seafood that's anything but fresh, to chain kitchens cited for pests, cross-contamination, and shocking food safety violations, we're counting down the 5 worst sit-down restaurants in America. Then we'll show you 2 that actually get it right. If you've ever slid into a booth thinking, at least this is better than fast food, this might change the way you look at every menu from now on. But before we find out what's really happening behind those swinging kitchen doors, make sure you're subscribed to Noshed Food Channel so you never miss another foodie deep dive. For years, Applebee's sold itself as the neighborhood go-to, affordable comfort food, smiling servers, and that cozy family vibe. But behind the branding, the experience has gone sharply downhill. Let's start with what's on the plate. Customers increasingly describe lukewarm, bland dishes that taste more like reheated cafeteria food than anything made fresh to order. And they're not wrong. Much of the menu leans heavily on frozen components and sauces with so much salt, it's shockingly easy to blow past a day's worth of sodium and calories before you even think about dessert. Nutritionally, some of the fan favorites are closer to a dare than a meal. Take the quesadilla burger or their ribs. Dietitians flag these for packing over 1,000 calories, 90+ grams of fat, and sodium counts that smash through heart health daily recommendations in a single serving. But here's where things get worse. Various Applebee's locations have been written up or even temporarily shut down for issues like dead roaches, food debris on supposedly clean dishes, improper hand washing, and severe facility grime that inspectors labeled an imminent health hazard. Then there's the service. Customer satisfaction scores are consistently mediocre, with reviews complaining about slow service, wrong orders, and management that brushes off concerns like they're reading from a script. When you combine ultra-processed menu items, nutritionally extreme dishes, recurring sanitation problems, and unhappy diners, Applebee's stops looking like a cheap night out. It starts looking like a risk you don't need to take. For a lot of people, Olive Garden is pure nostalgia. Endless breadsticks, big bowls of pasta, and that warm slogan, "When you're here, you're family." But peel back that cozy branding, and the food story isn't quite as heartwarming. Former employees and behind-the-scenes accounts describe a kitchen built on pre-made, bagged, and frozen components. Sauces and soups cooked in bulk, chilled in bags, then reheated to order. Stuffed pastas arriving frozen and thawed before service. That doesn't just dull the flavor. It makes many dishes taste like mass-produced reheated carbs rather than anything close to real Italian cooking. Heavy Alfredo dishes and combos like the Tour of Italy can easily push past 1,500 calories, with a full day's worth of saturated fat and sodium before you even touch that second basket of breadsticks. Customers often complain the food often arrives lukewarm, overcooked, or oddly bland, with further reports of soggy pasta, watery sauces, and breadsticks that are more greasy than golden. Olive Garden also faced a hepatitis A exposure class action lawsuit after an infected employee worked shifts in North Carolina, forcing diners to get emergency vaccines. In a separate Michigan lawsuit, a guest claimed he found a rat's foot in his minestrone. Combine that with mixed satisfaction scores and recurring local health violations, and Olive Garden stops looking like a safe comfort pick. Chili's promises sizzling fajitas, big burgers, and party vibes. But behind those cast iron skillets, a lot of the magic actually comes from the freezer and the microwave. Former employees and investigations describe soups arriving frozen in bags, desserts and sides routinely microwaved, and many key items pre-cooked or reheated rather than made truly fresh. Online, the reviews tell the same story. Low star ratings, repeated complaints about cold food, overcooked steaks, dirty dining rooms, and service that swings from inattentive to downright rude. Chili's starts looking less like a casual celebration spot and more like a corporate machine cutting corners on plates. If you're craving Tex-Mex, you're better off finding a local spot where the grill actually sizzles. For decades, Red Lobster sold the dream. Buttery lobster tails, endless shrimp, and those addictive Cheddar Bay biscuits. the promise of fresh seafood without the waterfront price tag. But a lot of that fresh from the sea image falls apart once you know how the food actually shows up. The chain openly acknowledges that most of its seafood is frozen, with only select lobsters kept live in tanks. Former workers describe a shift from hand-prepped shrimp to frozen, factory-battered imports from overseas. Diners now complain about soggy fried platters, rubbery shrimp, watery lobster tails, and chowder that taste more like paste than soup. Then there's the legal and safety side. Red Lobster has faced lawsuits from guests who say they were sickened by E. coli after eating Caesar salads. A class action case alleges the chain's shrimp and sustainable lobster aren't nearly as ocean-friendly as advertised, pointing to farms overseas linked to heavy antibiotic use and environmental damage. Separate investigations into specific locations have documented nearly 40 health code violations in a single store. Raw tuna, stored with cooked shrimp, filthy equipment, and disgusting kitchen grime. Add in plunging customer visits, disappointed longtime regulars posting never again reviews, and complaints about dark, shabby dining rooms with shrinking portions. And Red Lobster doesn't exactly scream, treat yourself anymore. On paper, Outback sounds like a great night out. Big steaks, friendly servers, and that iconic bloomin' onion in the middle of the table. In reality, that onion alone is a nutritional disaster. A single bloomin' onion clocks around 1,900 calories, roughly 145 to 160 grams of fat, and close to 4,000 to 4,900 milligrams of sodium, up to double your entire daily salt recommendation in one appetizer. Add a steak, sides, and a sugary drink, and you're staring at a 3,000 plus calorie meal before dessert even hits the table. Food quality and prep are just as hit or miss. Some guests praise juicy steaks, but others complain about tough meat, overcooked entrees, and greasy oversalted sides that taste like they've been sitting under a heat lamp. Then you have the hygiene stories. One Florida location was ordered shut after inspectors found roaches crawling in multiple areas, while another Outback failed an inspection when an employee used the same tongs to push down trash and then grab a cooked potato. Outback has also spent time in court over basic safety issues inside its restaurants, including a $2.75 million verdict after a guest was permanently injured due to a hazardous condition the company admitted was caused by its own negligence. When you combine outrageous calorie counts, inconsistent execution, pest problems, and lawsuits over unsafe conditions, that "no rules, just right" slogan starts to feel more like a warning than a welcome. After all of that, it probably feels like every big chain is a health hazard waiting to happen. But not every place with a logo and a line out the door is hiding a filthy kitchen or a sodium time bomb. There are chains that at least try to build the menu around real ingredients and better nutrition, and Sweetgreen is one of the best examples of that. While most sit-down spots on this list are serving frozen, beige comfort food, Sweetgreen built its entire identity around fresh, plant-forward meals. Bowls are built from real greens, grains, and proteins prepped in-house from whole ingredients delivered that morning rather than bags of processed sauces and fryers full of old oil. You see and taste actual vegetables: kale, arugula, roasted sweet potatoes, lentils, chickpeas, not just a token-side salad next to a mountain of fries. Nutritionally, Sweetgreen is in a different universe from chains like Applebee's or Outback. Independent breakdowns regularly place it among the healthier, fast-casual options, with many bowls landing in a reasonable calorie range and built around fiber, quality fats, and lean protein instead of sugar and saturated fat. That said, careful if you like to load up on cheese, creamy dressings, and crunchy toppings, because you can still turn your salad into a 700 to 900 calorie beast. So, smart ordering does matter. Customer feedback is telling. Fans rave about the freshness and flavors, while most complaints are about price, app issues, or service, not food poisoning or roaches. In a landscape full of sodium bomb chains, Sweetgreen stands out as one of the few places where fast and mostly real food actually overlap. To close out the list, we've got one more highlight, and this is where the sit-down but still healthy idea really comes together. True Food Kitchen is what sit-down chains could aspire to be if they actually cared about ingredients. Instead of building the menu around fried appetizers and cheese-smothered platters, True Food starts with vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats, then layers flavor on top of that foundation. You see things like ancient grain bowls, salads that are actually satisfying meals, and mains built around wild-caught fish or thoughtfully sourced meat, not mystery patties and freezer-burned shrimp. The cooking leans on roasting, grilling, and fresh herbs rather than deep fryers and heavy cream, so the food tastes cleaner and feels lighter long after you leave. What really sets True Food Kitchen apart is that it feels like a place you could eat at regularly, not just on a health kick. The dishes are colorful, creative, and genuinely satisfying, the kind of food you finish and immediately think, we should come back here. It's proof that healthy dining doesn't have to mean bland salads and boring grilled chicken. It just takes a kitchen that actually cares about what goes on your plate. That's our tour through the best and worst of sit-down chains. Next time you slide into a booth, you'll know exactly what you're getting into. Which restaurant surprised you the most? And will you still eat at them after knowing the truth? If you want more deep dives like this, make sure you're subscribed to Noshed Food Channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.